Sister once said, "A thankful heart is not only the greatest of all virtues, but is the parent of all virtues." This assignment helps us grow in virtue by looking at our past and looking at our past and where we came from will help us look at our future and also where we're at now in our future and help us build better communities, better families, and be better individuals. I was born in the year 2001 in the month of June. That year was also a very tumultuous time in American history, but I am grateful to be part of it because it was a defining moment in American history in a lot of ways, but also very tragic. And I believe that everyone's fitted to a time and to a certain month and year, and so I can't, God's plans above me, is above me, is above all of us, but we're all fitted to a certain time and year and place, and we need to take great solace in that. In that year, to begin, in that year, two movies that came out were the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. Both those movies were defining moments in cultural defining moments in the movie industry and in the and really kind of world history, but American culture, American history in general. Obviously, Harry Potter, one of the best book series of all time, and people, that generation, remembers when the books came out and remember sitting in line at midnight for the book to come to the bookstore. So when the movie came out, it was even greater hype and greater enthusiasm. That movie, that movie really brings people together and brings communities together and defines what that generation was bonded by, and movies can do that, just as sports and politics can, and also politics. The other movie that came out that year was Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was the greatest book of the 20th century, and so when that movie came out, that book changed lives. And so when that movie came out, people were just ecstatic and so very excited. People of all backgrounds, because that book, changed lives and saved lives. Also, both those movies really changed the movie industry too, because at that time the movie industry was very, shall we say, it was entering a new century of technology and everything, and so those two movies were at that kind of that crossroads, and what they did with their cinematography, bringing out these moments from a book, these themes and stories, this narratives from both these books, bring that out, putting this magical at stage, allowing it to catch the imagination and creativity of all minds. That really changed and set a new bar and a new standard for the movie industry, and set on a new path because of what they did in those movies, from everything from the setting, cinematography to the acting, you name it. Next, in sports, tragically that year, Dale Earnhardt Jr. passed away at the Daytona 500. On the last lap, he suffered injuries that proved to be fatal to him later that evening. That was a man who changed the NASCAR industry forever, and NASCAR is what it is today because of him. Also that year, the Ravens won the Super Bowl, the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup, the Diamondbacks won the World Series, and the Lakers won the NBA championship. Next, going into kind of more world events, or not world events, but more political events, I would say. Excuse me. Uh, George W. Bush won the 2000 election, was inaugurated in that early, was inaugurated and sworn into office in January of that year. And then in June, in Houston, up to that point, one of the Hurricane Allison, one of the great, most tumultuous and tragic hurricanes up to that point, hit down from June 5th to the 9th in Houston. And then next, to finish off the year of 2001, 9/11 hit, and 9/11 obviously very tragic time. My mom tells me stories that day and that time, but one in particular that she tells me today, just can't get out of my head, is I was born in June of that year, so I was 3 months old, and she was holding me as she was watching this going on, unfolding. And so it just makes, reflecting on that makes you really grateful for our freedoms and where we are, what we have as a country, and the men and women who die and put their lives in line, their families in line to protect our Constitution and our country. And then to finish off that year, the United States declared war on terrorism, on Al-Qaeda, on Osama bin Laden, on these people who attacked the United States. So, on October 7th of 2001, we officially entered Afghanistan and started the longest war in American history. So, that year was that year will go down. It will live in infamy and so many things in American history. But one thing we can say about that year is, so many things we experienced, but our country came together too as a people, and so it was, it's powerful to be born in that year. Thank you.